Hello everyone, welcome to our 21 days answer writing challenge for CAPF AC examination 2026 paper 2. So today we are going to see the model answer for day 2, which will be dealing with argument writing, and those who have written their answer copies can submit it at the account that is shared in the our Telegram channel, the details of which have been shared in the Telegram channel. You can follow all the instructions from there. So, moving on to the model answer discussion for today. So, the question is write arguments for and against for the following statement. Strong local self-governments are the foundations of the true democracy. So, we have to write argument for and argument against along with an introduction and a conclusion. Right? So here the introduction can define what this democracy is all about. Like we have this common statement or a common quote dealing with the democracy of the people, by the people, or for the people. Or else, since it is discussing about the local self-government, we can start with our Gandhiji's quote also with respect to the local self-government. How he has said that India lives in its villages and why there is a need to truly empower this local self-government. You can start your introduction in either ways. Both are fine. Now moving on to the first dimension, argument for. So when it comes to this argument for, it has to substantiate why aspect of this particular given statement. Why strong local self-governments are the foundations of true democracy. Why or the how aspects has to be addressed in this particular part. So moving on to the first point, we can tell that it is close to the people. So because of that, we can say that it can form as a strong foundation for ensuring the actual democracy at the grassroots level. Closeness to people can be your first point. Like we have to elaborate on this. I'll just give a crux of each and every point. So closeness to people, and then effective and targeted delivery of services can be possible. Effective and targeted delivery of services. Targeted service delivery will be possible with such focus on this local self-government institutions. And next thing is accountability and transparency. Since the executives or those who are implementing the policies will be one among the people from those particular village or gram panchayat, so there has to be a transparency. There will be transparency, and they will be held accountable, because in case of any issues, they are directly in contact with the local people, so they will be held accountable. So that is one thing that will strengthen the local self-government, strengthening the democratic aspect. And then direct people's participation. Direct people's participation, kind of direct democracy. Direct people's participation, and they know what is their local needs and who can better represent their needs. All these things will be well known to the local people, so that will also strengthen the democracy at the local level. And then diversity of representation can also be quoted here, because after this 73rd and the 74th Amendment Act, we have reservations for different section of people, so that will allow for diversity of representation among various vulnerable sections like women, and then the SC/ST population, etc., whomever have been given this increased representation through reservation. And then citizen empowerment or capacity building. Like the local people will be exposed to the political aspects, like how the government functions at the local level, and that will give the curiosity to know how the government functions at the state level or how it is functioning at the national level. So all these will empower them, and they can further increase their aspirations to be a participant at the state level or at the central level also. So in such a way, it will be acting as a platform for empowering the citizens also. So these are some of the factors with which you can substantiate how this strong local self-government will function as the foundation of a true true democracy. Moving on with the argument against. When it comes to argument against, here for this particular statement, we can simply list the issues or limitations with respect to this true empowerment of local self-government. Here, challenges that we encounter or the limitations that we are experiencing in this particular regard. All these can be listed here. So firstly, we can put this particular issue of lack of expertise with the local people, or lack of awareness, political awareness about the electoral functioning and all the other their roles and responsibilities as local representatives. This can be quoted as one major challenge or a limitation that undermine the strength of this democracy at the local level. And then the domination of local elites, perpetuating this discrimination, domination by local elite people. So that will in turn perpetuate the established or entrenched discrimination, undermining this diversity of representation perspective. So this can be your next argument. The diversity of representation will also be undermined in this particular regard. And the third one will be, there is something called subconchipathy. Subconchipathy is nothing but, although there are representation or reservation for women, subconchipathy system or rule, that is also a prevalent scenario in Indian context, where although there is representation for women, it will be the men who will be mostly taking the decisions. Women will be held only for the face value to show the account under this reservation, but all the major decisions and influences will be taken by their husband or in-laws. That is one major challenge. And then the resource constraints. Because not all the local self-governments are empowered with the taxation power. So without a necessary revenue or without a necessary financial backup, they will not be able to implement the policies that are being taken at the local government level. So there is this issue or constraint of resources. And then policy fragmentation. Because one particular panchayat will be taking a decision that will be very much relevant for their own panchayat or Silla Parishad, but other panchayat, a nearby panchayat will be taking another issue. Like there will be policy fragmentations, and that will undermine the uniformity. So we can never attain this uniformity in policies. So too much of fragmentation will ultimately undermine the whole of this democratic spirit. Right, and these are some of the argument against, like lack of expertise or awareness, and then lack of willingness from the state government officials, political will, lack of political will from the state government officials to delegate important functions and functionaries, lack of political will, and then irregular elections. Many of the states, the local elections have been withheld for so long, like irregular elections. These are all, they are not even giving the scope for any elections to represent the local representatives. So these are some of the major challenges or limitations that undermine the prospect of a stronger democracy at the local level. And in the conclusion part, we can simply highlight the need for empowering the local self-government with something called the 3F, which is fund, functions, and functionaries. Fund, which is the revenue for their effective functioning, and then fund functions, delegation of functions under this 11th and 12th schedule, because there are many provisions that are reserved by the state government without a proper delegation to this local or third tier of government. Functions and functionaries. Functionaries means like the lack of elections. So because of the lack of elections, we don't know who is our local representative to approach in case of any issue. So if we are able to address this particular concern of 3F, funds, functions, and functionaries, then we will be able to ensure the spirit of democracy at the local level, and then we can strengthen the democracy at the local level. So this can be your final conclusion. So this is all about today's brief model answer discussion. So those who have written their answer can submit it at the account that has been listed in this particular Telegram channel, and also you can download the model answers in our from our app. The link of which will be given in the description section. So this is it. Thank you.